In a bustling forest where the sun filtered through the leaves, casting dappled shadows on the ground, lived a particularly ambitious squirrel named Chester. Chester was not your ordinary squirrel. He had grand dreams of becoming the wealthiest squirrel in the entire woodland. His eyes sparkled with mischief, and his bushy tail twitched with excitement whenever he spotted a stash of acorns. With autumn approaching, Chester devised a plan that he believed would make him the unrivaled king of acorn hoarding. It all began one crisp morning when Chester awoke with a start, a vision of acorns dancing in his mind. He had overheard the other animals chatting about the legendary Acorn Festival, a time when all the woodland creatures gathered to celebrate the bounty of the season. Chester knew that if he could gather all the acorns before the festival, he would be the talk of the forest. No longer would he be just another squirrel. He would be Chester the Magnificent, the Acorn Baron. With determination, Chester set off on his quest. He scurried through the underbrush, his tiny heart racing with excitement. His first target was Old Man Oak, a grand tree known for its generous acorn production. As Chester approached, he spotted a group of chipmunks busily gathering acorns, their cheeks puffed out like balloons. Chester's eyes gleamed with a mix of envy and ambition. He had to act quickly. "Hey, chipmunks!" Chester called out, feigning friendliness. "Why don't you let me help you with those acorns? I have a great idea for a new game." The chipmunks, always eager for fun, paused and looked at Chester with curiosity. "What game?" one of them asked, tilting his head. "Acorn toss," Chester exclaimed. "Let's see who can toss the acorns the farthest. Winner takes all." He gestured dramatically, his enthusiasm infectious. The chipmunks, thrilled by the prospect of a game, agreed. Chester led them to a clearing, where he set up a makeshift throwing line. As the chipmunks took turns tossing acorns, Chester slyly gathered the fallen ones, stuffing them into a burlap sack he had cleverly hidden in the bushes. With each toss, he felt his stash growing, and he couldn't help but chuckle to himself. But just as he was about to make a quick getaway, disaster struck. Chester's burlap sack snagged on a branch, sending a cascade of acorns spilling onto the ground. The chipmunks turned, their eyes wide as they realized they had been outsmarted. "Hey, those are our acorns!" they squeaked in unison. Chester's heart raced as he darted away, the chipmunks hot on his tail. He zigzagged through the trees, narrowly avoiding a collision with a startled rabbit. "What's going on?" the rabbit shouted, confused by the chaos unfolding in the usually serene forest. "Acorn heist!" Chester yelled back, his voice filled with panic. The rabbit's eyes widened and he quickly hopped away, eager to escape the impending mayhem. Chester dashed toward the creek, hoping to lose the chipmunks in the water. He leaped over rocks and splashed through puddles, but the chipmunks were relentless. They were small but speedy, and their determination matched Chester's. Just as he thought he had gained some distance, he tripped over a root and tumbled into the water, sending acorns flying in every direction. Soaked and sputtering, Chester scrambled to his feet, only to find himself face to face with a rather irritable duck. "What in the world is going on?" the duck quacked, shaking water from her feathers. "Just a little acorn. Misunderstanding," Chester stammered, trying to regain his composure. The duck raised an eyebrow, clearly unimpressed. Before Chester could explain further, the chipmunks arrived. their cheeks still stuffed with acorns. "There he is," they shouted, pointing a tiny paw at Chester. The duck, sensing the commotion, flapped her wings and honked loudly, creating a scene that drew the attention of other animals nearby. A curious crowd began to gather, including a wise old owl perched on a branch above. "What's all this ruckus about?" The owl hooted. Looking down with keen interest, Chester felt the heat of embarrassment wash over him as he realized he was now the center of attention. Well, you see," Chester began, but the chipmunks interrupted. "He tried to steal our acorns." They squeaked in unison, their voices high-pitched and frantic. The owl adjusted his glasses, his eyes narrowing. "Is that so? A squirrel attempting to hoard acorns all for himself? How very unbecoming of you, Chester." Chester's mind raced as he tried to think of a way to salvage the situation. "I just wanted to, share the bounty. Yes, that's it, share the bounty," he blurted out, hoping to win back the crowd's favor. The duck snorted. "Share? It looks more like you were trying to hoard." Realizing he had dug himself into a hole, Chester decided to own up to his antics. Okay, I confess. I wanted to gather all the acorns for myself, but I see now that it's better to share. After all, the Acorn Festival is about community, right? The crowd murmured, and the wise old owl nodded in approval. "A lesson learned is worth more than 1,000 acorns, young Chester. Why not make amends and invite everyone to join you in a grand acorn gathering?" Chester's eyes lit up with the idea. "That's a great plan. Let's have an acorn party. We can all gather together and celebrate." The animals cheered, and the tension dissipated as Chester rallied the creatures of the forest. They all set off together, gathering acorns from every nook and cranny, sharing stories and laughter along the way. Chester realized that the joy of sharing was far greater than the thrill of hoarding. As the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the forest, the animals gathered in a clearing, their acorn bounty piled high. Chester stood before them, feeling a warmth in his heart that he hadn't anticipated. "Thank you all for joining me today. Let's celebrate our friendship and the abundance of this beautiful forest." With that, they feasted, danced, and shared acorns until the stars twinkled above, reminding Chester that sometimes the best treasures are not the ones we hoard, but the connections we make along the way.